Whoop, whoop, whoop. Feline invasion. I repeat, we have a feline invasion. Chris, hold very still. Do not turn your head. For the love of Pete, don't turn your head. Oh, the humanity.
I mean, what's a guy gonna do? So I guess here's how it is. So hello, welcome to the Backpack Show. It is a just me kind of episode today. So I'm going to count on you to be even extra you. One thing I really want you to do is push the share button wherever you're watching me and start sharing the love. Get some more people out here. I mean, look, if guys like JB Rants are going to come over here and Space Spear, then my friends like Elizabeth down in Texas can help out. My lovely mother and father, Chloe, and Giant Cats. I have a roommate that I don't like, and she's absolutely demanding my attention today. So today we have a one of those rare episodes where it's just me. So I try my best not to have it be just me. So I try to bring you in. So I have a link right here, cbrogan.me/join us. If you want to come jump on camera and say hi, we could talk about anything you want to talk about today. It's a free form show today. It's all about business, news, technology, things going on, whatever's on your mind, things that make you excitable, Bigfoot sightings, and maybe some talk about what we do if this pandemic actually really ends.
Hi, everyone. Tim Kitzer from NBA Jam and NFL Blitz, welcoming you to The Backpack Show. Your hosts, Chris Brogan, Kerry Gargone, Boom Shakalaka.
Backpack Show. Welcome to the Backpack Show. I am your only host, Chris Brogan. Carrie Gorgone is still away, still dealing with family business. A lot. Believe me, she wishes she could be here running the show instead of all the crud she's dealing with. Hey, Suze, good to see you. How are you? I slept on wet hair last night, so I'm not camera ready. Oh, the terror of curls. And hi, Leslie. Leslie's been hard at work already doing April Fool's jokes for people, so I can tell you ahead of time there will be no April Fool's jokes on the show unless I forget and make one, but not intentionally. I'm not down to clown. I think it's still like too early. I think it's still that sense of too soon. Like we're all still just like on our back foot from how crazy 2020 was and beyond. So I'm not here for it. But I thought we could talk about whatever you want to talk about. So like I said, I stuck a link up there. See brogan.me/join us. If you feel like jumping on camera and saying hi, we'll talk about whatever you're doing. Are you writing a book? Are you working on some new presentations? Do you have some pesky clients getting in the way of your day? I would love to have you on as a guest. Come on. You have to be just vaguely camera ready. That's all you got to do. Oh, and shut all the other apps off on your device. That's all you got to do. So see brogan.me/join us, or join me in this case. Elizabeth has a meeting. Well, so there you go. You could be camera ready now. Ian says, hi, Ian Dawson. Good to see you. Thanks for being on the show. Chloe asked a question about dad jokes. So my ex-wife, Kat, has one of my favorite dad jokes ever. Where does a king keep his army? In his sleevey. I love that joke. I just heard that Ontario is going back into a lockdown for another month. I've been seeing that all around, so I'm really sorry to hear that. Terrible. And I know it's not over yet. Hey, Ann, how are you? Happy Thursday to you. Monday. Said morning, so in my head I said Monday. Happy Thursday to you. So whatever topics we want to talk about, give me a connection. Tell me what you want to talk about today. What's on your mind? Talk about something you've been thinking about. I'll tell you one to start off with. This is my first topic for the day. Is a lot of people out of the blue yesterday and today. I got 5 different messages from 5 unique people who don't talk to each other, as far as I know, saying, "How come you haven't been on Clubhouse?" And I thought, because I don't care. It's just not that interesting to me. And I didn't even have to blink to think of that answer, because I don't know that Clubhouse has a future after the world gets back to going to conferences. The fact that we get to go back to offices. Every time I've ever gone into Clubhouse, my experience has been kind of the same. Let me look and see if there's anybody I know. Let me look and see if there's somebody kind of fancy that I want to listen to. Let me wander into the room that they're in. Oh, I'm listening to a complete stranger way overshare the mic and way over talk everybody else in the room. So it's not that interesting to me. Clubhouse is not a sense of like we can share our ideas and our thoughts. When I came to blogging way back in 1998, when they called it journaling, what was great about blogging was I could write my thoughts up, share them, post them, and you could write your thoughts up and share them and post them. Everybody had an equal opportunity to get connected. And I would write about your post. I'd be like, man, I saw that Sue's had this thing to say, and I share the link to it. And so people could come over there and check out what she was doing. In Clubhouse, it's really one person, really all the time. And it's just like the opposite of that feeling of social media. Just wasn't into it. So I think it's a poopy platform. It's not really my thing. Are there some opportunities? Yeah, there's some opportunities. And the people who get there first are going to have some more experiences there as well. Carrie asked the question, do you have any plans to resume long form, no video podcasting? Not just yet. I don't. I do have an audio podcast running, and it's just the audio stripe from this show, though. It's nothing. It's just the show dripping into an audio format. So, but I think the answer to that question a different way, though, Carrie, is that do I feel that there's business value in it? Yes, absolutely. I think podcasting will get back huge. Think about this. What's going to happen once pandemic finally stops again? Commuting. What do we do when we commute? I need something to consume that time, right? Just got to do it, just got to do it. Sue says, no offense to my friends who are into it, but I find that Clubhouse is just a lot of people who like to hear themselves talk. That's totally true. And there's some of them that I love to hear talk. So it's great. But, I already, at this point, at least how my Clubhouse is connected, I feel like 5 people dominate Clubhouse already. And they're 5 people I'm already friends with and already know their thoughts. So it didn't do anything for me. I'm not sure if you're asking me for the link, please, again, or if you didn't see it the whole time I had it up there. So I'm going to put it up there again, and then we'll see what happens. Brogan.me/join us. It's there. Hey, Feline, I've got an idea. Leave the house. That would be so cool. Go on an adventure. Go to Vegas. Your great grandparents would love to see you. Go to Vegas. Oh, they would love you. Don't you think, Poppy and Grandma, wouldn't you love to have a cat out in the desert? I think it would be great for you. So my first talk is no, I don't think that Clubhouse is going to go anywhere after this. I think it has a very short run. I think it's grossly overvalued. And right now I've been doing some work with some companies that are dealing with acquisitions and buying companies and looking at their revenue, their earnings, their year over year and all that kind of a thing. And it's why I've never really been super into startups. And it's because that startups, when you look at what they're doing, they're almost always just trying to build their money up over and over again. And there's no real sense of where the revenue is going to come from. It's just getting their earnings. I mean, getting their build in, because they're hoping to do the same old model of, if I have enough faces and enough numbers, I'll make something happen out of it. So I'm watching you, Elizabeth. You're almost ready to be here on live. she's getting in a fist fight with her hair, but any minute now she'll be ready. But yeah, I don't see a long form future for Clubhouse. What I really think will happen with Clubhouse is that someone else will buy them, just the way that Twitter opened up Spaces. I don't think Twitter Spaces is especially interesting. I love Twitter so much, and I think that Twitter buying the email newsletter platform was a way cooler move. I thought there was a lot more business opportunity there, so that's something to do. So, as you're about to see any minute now, you can come and join us. Brogan.me/join us, and I'll bring you up on stage here. So, Elizabeth is here with me. Hi, your microphone is muted on your side, it looks like, so you're going to have to unmute. We're good to go. How are you?
I'm doing fine, except for my painting just went boop behind the couch.
It's
like,
can't always have everything just perfect 100% of the time. That's not going to work out for you.
Yeah, at least I have good hair today.
You have a great hair day going. So what's going on in your world? You've been kind of back at it again. I mean, you've been working quite a lot, right? So tell the universe what you've been working on and what you get down to in Texas. And don't you have a race coming up? I think I remember hearing that yesterday on the show.
Yeah, I get to race both in Austin and in Houston. So I'm racing in Houston on the J105, and that was really cool because I usually get to be the mainsail trimmer, and that's the boat where, it it's kind of one of those things. I shared an article recently, and it's like you would think that all these women, you had to like go out and vote. We had to do all of these things. It's like women had to actually show it, like back in the 1930s and 40s, that they could race as well.
Really?
And yes, I'll have to send you that article after the show. I'll send it to you over email. But yeah, I shared it in some of the sailing forums. And, it was one of those things where back in the 1930s, they wouldn't even give a prize to a woman who competed in the race, even if they won.
Interesting. So you
Yeah.
had to fight your way in there. We were talking about, I don't remember who we had on, and you made the connection about the fact that, there's a little bit of athleticism required in running a sailboat. People don't know that. People don't understand that you're not just there holding a rope in place. What's the kind of experience in the middle of a race? What happens that makes you have to run around and be very active and fit for it?
Well, it's a lot of different things. So it depends on which position you are in the boat. So the person in the front is always basically taking out any and all knots, no matter what the position the knot gets in on the sailboat. And I've had that position before, and I'm glad I'm in the back of the boat now, because sometimes you feel like you have 3 points of contact on the boat, and it's not necessarily your 2 feet and your back.
Oh dear.
Exactly.
So you can be dangling off into the abyss while you're working on a knot, is what you're saying.
Sometimes it has happened where it's like, okay, I'm glad I'm wearing a life jacket at the moment, and that got caught in something, so I can, embrace things. But it really depends, because some of the gusts in Galveston Bay, over here in Austin, when we get to 20 knot winds, it feels like you're in a washing machine. So we get really choppy, big waves, and they won't let us go out. But over in the bay, it's still 20, so you can go out. But as the 20 knot winds hit, there's more load on the sail, especially the mainsail, which is the biggest sail out of them. Okay, I was just gonna, yeah.
So you're gonna show us the sailboat or something, but
well, there is a sailboat. Actually, I could do that. It's actually right there.
Oh no, we can have the model to work from. So
yeah.
What's modern in a sailboat that you would race compared to an old timey sailboat? Like what do people thinking it goes on that boat compared to like what's really going on the boat?
Yeah, we're actually really quiet. The better racing teams that I have very little, communication. It's just what's going on at the time. And
really?
so yeah, because it's like,
so there's no like hoist the mainsail, trim the something.
Well, there's that when you need to, but then the rest of the time, watching the wind, puff. Okay, I think there's a puff coming in 30 seconds, and that's a big deal for me, because I need to let out the mainsail in Houston to let it out so that it doesn't get overloaded, because if it gets overloaded, the boat will go.
So it's almost the opposite of what I was thinking. So like, here comes some heavy wind. Instead of hooray, you're more like, let's get that wind by without wrecking our boat.
Yeah, well, let's use the wind optimally, because there's that fine point in racing boats where it's like, it's kind of one of those things like in anything else. Like if you're in a racing car, it's like you have this fine tune, like this range, and then otherwise it goes pop. But the funny thing is, I'm going to make a connection back to your clubhouse, actually.
Oh.
Like, oh yeah, the marketing channels are the worst, but I've been enjoying the sailing channels and the Spanish channels, because I get to go speak with like native Spanish speakers. So the way I look at it is Clubhouse is for hobbies, not for work.
I like it. Well, or different work, because our friend Jane Morehouse, she is in the beauty channels. So she works as a PR agency who specifically works with beauty agencies, beauty companies on all sides of that equation, like people who make a hair product or people who run like a 35 salon empire. And she said she goes, I don't know what you're talking about, Chris. It's great. It's all the time fruitful. Every time I go there, I learn something that's really useful for me. And I always go, oh, so.
Well, the channel's fun.
Some channels can be fun. Chloe says it sounds like a great sport for adrenaline junkies.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yes, do you consider yourself an adrenaline junkie then? Would that match your demeanor in your mind?
Not necessarily my demeanor, but it's just nice to get it all out, because sometimes you get all of this like pent up angst and everything else, and you just need something to like let it out on the weekend. And that's really what it is. It's like, and it's a great group of communities. I mean, how many people is like, I only been doing this like competitively like the last 4 years, and I've had a series of other hobbies as well. But for some odd reason, people really like me because I can see the wind and I can predict what we need to do.
Can you help other people understand what you just said when you said I could see the wind? Because I'm sure about 90-something% of people don't know what you mean.
The wind is not constant. And so there's places in it where, especially on Lake Travis, because of the topography and the geometry of the high cliffs and everything else. So you basically have, like, for lack of a better word, the wind comes in like fingers, and it goes in waves. And so you're going, it's like as you cross the lake, because you never really cross in one straight line. You're there. You're always constantly correcting, finding the best wind to beat the course. And the best teams make the least amount of mistakes. So it's how you work together as a team. So I really enjoy my team in Lake Travis here in Austin, and I'm part of 2 teams there. And it's just a lot of fun. The one here in Travis actually trained me well enough to go into the boat in Houston.
That's interesting to say as well, right? Because there's scales in everything, right? Everything we do, there's some scales to it. So I can't believe that no other people want to join. I thought Margot could swing by. Chloe every now and again is up for hanging out on screen, but right now I have just brave Elizabeth.
I just saw her comment because I have the iPad running on beside me because that's how I usually see you. I'm gonna have to figure out, because I wish Janice was.
A little bit of both going on. It gets crazy fast. So.
Well, it's like I want to see the commentary, but yeah, no, that would be a great book. There's a lot of great books, and I'm thinking that's actually one of those things. Is like, as I come into the show, it's like, what is the metaphors for sailing? What is this? It's like, because you're a Buddhist, and I'm thinking I could train you because you meditate how to see the wind. Where all of these people, for lack of a better word, pier tossing sailors who've been doing this for years, they just don't see the fine-tunedness in things. They don't see the details.
That's Linda's here too. Linda, you get on camera with me. But Fred says I jump in, but I have a meeting in 10 minutes. Yeah, Fred's usually pretty.
He has a meeting in 15.
You do, I know it. That's no excuse. When you were talking about that, when you said about I might be good to train and all that, when you were talking about the way it looks, and you did this and you kind of did like a crossover it, I was thinking about that. Makes me think of when you learn how to work knots out of somebody's body. When you learn massage therapy and how to get a knot out, it's almost always a crisscross like that. It's like a waffle of your muscles, not just one plane. So I'm already sort of seeing what you're saying, the kind of dimensionality of the wind. That's pretty cool.
Right. Yeah. And it's a game. It's a strategy game for me, because you like strategy and tactics, and this is the strategy and tactics. It's just a different implementation. But I feel, when I meet there, and I meet the really good sailors. So the one who I'm sailing with in Houston, he's actually 80 years old, the owner of the boat.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. So I look at it as like a lifelong passion where it keeps you young.
It's a good thing. I like that idea a lot. Hey, you would not know this, but here's Fred Faulkner IV. How are you?
Hello.
You have the best sound. You sound so dulcet.
How's everyone doing today?
Should be doing an ASMR thing. So what's your meeting in 10 minutes? Is it important?
Yeah, I'm onboarding a new partnership, so I have a training that I have to lead and manage.
You have to deliver the training?
Yeah. I'm the coordinator and organizer, so I can't really bail on that. So sorry.
Do you wear your Boba Fett helmet while you're doing it? Like, is it
only on May 4th. So
only on May 4th. Perfect. Now I have a question to both of you. Oh, come on, Marion. Listen, I have a question about this, about May 4th. This is April 1. Are either of you the kind who feel like they need to play some pranks today?
No. She is. No.
Just on my siblings.
I've already heard a couple pranks go down. One was a desk may or may not have been saran wrapped. I heard that there was possibly some goose feathers left all over another person's desk who hit a bird the other day driving to work. So, but none of the old fashioned, like I'm not super eager to see what pretend software is out there or whatever yet. But
yeah, no. So
we'll
I keep forgetting that it's April 1st is the joke day, not April 2nd for whatever reason. So
yeah. Well, 15 years ago, I told every software platform in the world that my birthday was today. My birthday is actually 7 days from today on the 8th. But what I thought was, if Skynet comes to kill me, they'll be so wrong, because they'll be like, when is your birthday? And I'll be like, not this, right? And so that's how I'll escape. And so every year for 15 years, I've had to say thank you on the 1st and the 8th. So as people start to realize which one's my birthday. So everyone thinks I've April fooled people, but it wasn't really. It was just a ploy to get Arnold Schwarzenegger not to kill me.
Exactly.
Well, very merry on birthday. I feel like being a Mad Hatter for you.
Thank you. I like that idea. Marion says, by the way, Spartan. So Spartan race, the Spartan people. Spartan is talking about a kettlebell iPhone holder, so it may or may not be a joke, but think about it. You'd have to lift the kettlebell if you want to use your iPhone. I think it's an important way to get you to keep moving. I think that's ultra smart. I think if my video game controller was attached to a kettlebell, I would be in a slightly different shape also. All right. Any famous last words, Fred? Besides on-ramping, what are you doing in the next little while? What's kind of an exciting project on your plate?
Well, no, it's end of spring break, so we're gonna try and enjoy the weekend as best possible at Easter, and then I think Monday we're gonna spend our last day doing some top golf and enjoying kind of the outside as much as possible. It got cold here in Chicago. It was nice in like 60s, and then it got cold. But no, I think we're just gonna try and wrap up the week as best we can, knock out a few more items on the to-do list, and yeah, I got Twitter Spaces now, so I'm going to start experimenting with hosting in that fun forum. So that's kind of part of my to-do list is to figure out what to do there.
Twitter Spaces, anywhere you can put that dulcet voice, I think that's the plan. So
that is the plan. You know who has a great voice though? Scott Monty. Like, he does this whole thing. I've only done it a couple times where he does like a bedtime. He does like a bedtime reading on Clubhouse every night at I don't know, like 10:30. 11:30 Eastern. It's crazy late, but he reads a bedtime story every night, and he gets he has a great voice. That is a voice that deserves to be listened to.
Totally true. Totally true. Well, listen, I adore you both, but I know you both have meetings to get off to, so I'm booping you. Boop, boop. Good to see you. Love you both. Get out. Yeah, so go have your meetings. Go do some great stuff. You're all worth it. And I am so glad you joined me today. Now, I am stunned beyond words that I didn't have more people want to come and join and be my pals. Is it something I said? I bathed today, if that helps. So see Brogan.me/join us. You can come in the studio and talk with me, or we can talk about topics. So if you're sitting here and chat and you don't want to actually get camera ready because I don't know, you left your powder puff at home, the wrong lipstick, whatever, just send a comment and talk about something that's on your mind. We can bring it up as a conversation. We can back and forth it a little bit. I'm up for it. I've got a lot of thoughts on my mind. We talked about the audio stuff earlier before Fred showed up about how I just don't think that Clubhouse is going to be a thing for too much longer. And I could be wrong. My tech predictions have been fairly bad all the way around. I mean, I wrote a book called Google Plus for Business because I thought Google Plus was going to be great, forgetting that Google would very willingly crush a platform that everybody was excited about just if they just didn't feel like it one day. Just they measure on a different thing than what I measure on. So how am I doing, Chris? Well, let's see. So I went 3+ years of pretty solid, steady state depression. Then 2020 came, and oddly, right as the pandemic hit, I went, hey, that's weird. I feel somehow competent to try to fight my way through this pandemic. So I was really excited about quarantine. I was excited about, the fact that everything I know as an introvert, as a person that deals with depression and anxiety, it was like a toolkit for working my way through depression. So I felt good about that. Every business project that I have tried, the last 3 years, the depression didn't help anything. And then 2020, I was just like, I've just got to make it. I've just got to keep working, whatever it is. I'm just going to keep, Dory says, just keep swimming. That was me. And then somewhere towards the end of the year, last quarter or so of the year, a person who I've been an advisor of their company since 2005 or something says to me, hey, I really need your help. I got to pay you for some time and all that. I really need your help. Can you come on board? And that has been crazy. It's been this rocket ride. So I've been great because I've been doing such a mix. I did all the cool branding work, did a new, logo design, story, the story being the most important part, but the logo and the site design and everything goes with it, really retold this company's story. That was exciting. And then immediately went from that into some new projects with them. That company has done really well. They'd been doing fine on their own. They'd been, profitable for years and years on their own. Decided to take some outside money in to start wrapping up other people in this particular architecture. So they started acquiring other companies that were like them. They got the attention of a much bigger company who said, you know what, we want to give you even more money. We want you to keep going. And they were like, okay. And so next thing you know, I'm on this weird rocket ride where we're sucking new companies into this other company as fast as we can. So much so that the April Fool's joke in that architecture was about my client's company. It says there's a website out there now called either Was I or Am I acquired by appfire.com. And when you go on the site, it's like just a randomizer, but it's like, yeah, you were acquired 3 months ago. Didn't you get the memo? So it's such a joke right now in this big ecosystem that these people are playing in, that they made it an April Fool's thing. So I thought that was kind of fun. And I'm loving the hell out of the project. Strategic advisory work, business advisory work. I just haven't done some of that in a while. And when I started last year, March of 2020, with my video shows, I thought, well, I'm just going to be a showrunner. I'm just going to run shows. I love shows. I like making them. I want to make them happen and have fun. I think it'll be so great. Hey, Sarah, how are you, love? I think that's what I'll do. I'll just make shows. And then I thought what happened was people would come and hire me and we'd make shows together. And, like you do, Marion, you do some people's shows. I mean, I thought, hey, maybe some more people will come. They'll want to buy some shows. And have me run them and put them together and not always be the face, but be the guy who gets everybody set up. And that didn't happen. And instead, like hardcore business stuff that I really love to do got put on my plate again. So you know how they say man plans, God laughs. I swear that every time I think, here's where I'm going, the world says, that's not where you're going. So I have to deal with that. So thanks, EQ. Go to your meeting. Hey, Joel, good to see you, buddy. It was nice to hear from you. And thank you so much for my System of a Down. That was a very, very sweet gift. It fit perfectly, by the way. Marion says, I've been thinking about starting a series on LinkedIn Live. Any advice? So I think, Chip, get on the screen there. See Brogan.me/join us. Chip says, oops, where'd it go? Just got here. So LinkedIn Live, any tips on what to do with LinkedIn Live? Because, just use it. But if you're going to do a show, I still feel, Marion, that I think way more people need a show than have a show. And I think way more people don't believe that they can put it together. And I think that a lot of people think it's just out of their reach and that they have to be an incredible filmmaker and not just have the toys at hand to be able to do this. And I think that's always in vogue. I think one other kind of a series you might consider to do, Chip, when have you not been camera ready? Are you in your bed? I think that one other thing you could do or maybe do is stuff when people head back towards the pandemic, or, what other topics have you been thinking about, I guess would be another question I have for you. But I think there's a lot of opportunity. I think people are finally waking up to LinkedIn being a lot more than just a place to put their resume, but it's still not as fast as I wish. It's just not going there. You can plan plans, but you can't plan results. I know. I swear everything that I've put up, Joel, to the world, I've said, hey, this is the thing I'm selling. They're going, great, but do you have this? And then they always say they don't. So handsome Larry Oliver joins us, the voice of 1,000 voices. Linda. I have something for this. Oh, shoot. So there's a guy on LinkedIn. His name is Professor Nez, N-E-Z. I think his name in LinkedIn is listed as Professor Nez. Find him. He's who got me into LinkedIn Live. His method got me into LinkedIn Live. He said, do this, then this, then this. I did it exactly like he said, and pow, I was in LinkedIn Live after years of trying to get in. So it's Professor Nez. All right. So this question, and by the way, Larry, I don't know if you saw my little point here, but see brogan.me/join us. You can come right in the studio if you're ready to go. Marion, this is, I've been thinking about asking podcasters why they podcast. So when I think of shows to make and run, I always think this question, Professor Nez, that is correct. So just like this, N-E-Z. He is the leader in figuring this stuff out. I don't know why or how. I've been on his show 3 times, by the way. He's a really nice guy. And I'll see if I can find the article that I wrote about it. So if you're thinking about asking podcasters why they podcast, to me, that might be an interesting, in the way like a documentary would be interesting. So it would be like a short series or something. I don't see it as being a long-standing kind of a project, because I think most podcasters would fit into 3 groups. 1, I've always loved this. I totally want to do this my whole life. But, I always thought I wanted to be a radio DJ, whatever it is. 2, I think it's a great way to sell the stuff that I want to sell. And 3, everyone pressured me, and I'm being forced. And blink twice if you need help. I really don't think it's. I don't think it's. I think a lot of people do a show for all the wrong reasons. Is my answer to that. But I mean, I would watch it to see what you came up with for answers. But I also think it wouldn't be anything particularly business generating for you. It would just be kind of interesting to read, if that makes sense. Go have a meeting thinking about a show. You definitely have to have a show. Shows are where it's at. I mean, when we come back from this pandemic, there's a lot of people. My show runs live in the middle of the workday for a lot of people in the US anyway, and in the afternoon for people in UK and Europe. So there's people who come to the show even when they should be doing their day job, and it's because they're just not being fed the things that they feel like they need to be fed to kind of run and make things happen. Now, look, your neighbor Sarah says I would watch those shows. So there you go, Elizabeth. You already have encouragement. All right. What else do we have to say? What other topics do we have? What else is on people's minds? So thank you, Linda, for asking that question. If I had my other browser open, which I don't while I'm running my show, I would be able to find you that link kind of quicker, but I don't have it open. And I think there's an important conversation not happening is another reason. That's true, but those I think also end up being quite niche as well. There's a lot of podcasts that will never have more than 100 listeners who probably don't need to have another 100 listeners, more than 100 listeners, about a very specific medical ailment or about a specific political need or something like that. There's a lot of really small band podcasts that I think should exist and should thrive. Oh, Larry, I covered this a little bit earlier, but I'll circle back for you because I want you to know. I think it's a short span thing. I don't think it's going to last for very long. I think there's a lot of things against it, most especially just that participation is not at the core of it. It really favors people who hog the mic. It really favors people who want to over self-promote. There's a lot of really negative behaviors built into being successful on that platform that push away people like myself who aren't attracted to those behaviors. I think that there are some little small groups and niches. Every time someone tries to defend it to me, they go, I'm in a really small group. And I always say the same thing. Well, good for you. Our mutual friend, John Bailey, Epic Voice Guys, goes there a bunch, and he's in with a kind of a crowd over there. But I think it's just because of persistence. I think, it's a pomegranate. You know what I mean when I say that, Larry? It's a pomegranate compared to like a strawberry. We could just eat it. I'm a PC and Android dude. Oh, so Joel, I'll tell you how I got around that. I went and I bought a refurbished iPod Touch. Oh, Marion, good to see you. Why Kermit? Because Kermit's the best. I don't know, because he's an inquisitive and caring person. Would you consider Clubhouse as a way to extend your podcast? No, I'd consider it as a way to water down your podcast and make it not really very useful for your podcast. I don't see a great deal of value in it, except to sometimes find new guests. I think if you go there and you look at other people's profiles, and after you hear somebody, you might go and find some good guests. And thank you. And I'm just teasing about being tardy. I'm just explaining for other people who did show up at the beginning. That's why I'm covering it again, because you're worth it, Larry. So I think that this question, no, absolutely not. I'm really bearish on it. I don't think it's going to go far. Now, someone could tell me that I'm wrong, and I told me so, but everything else I've ever backed is a community-minded platform. I'm huge on Twitter. Not I'm huge, but I love Twitter because I think that Twitter has all the right tools. You can have a voice. I can have a voice. We can share our voices, all those kinds of things. Is that a Blake Shelton bobblehead? It may as well be. Whoever bought it, that happened, thought that I looked like that. Maybe I kind of look like that. So he's just over here next to, I just lost another guy next to the Chris Brogan action figure. This one's anatomically correct. You can tell by my washboard abs. I don't have a 6-pack like this. I have a keg, but close enough. And then behind those guys is Triple H. I just lost another guy. That's like 4 guys I've killed today. And then you can't see him. I mean, look, you can't even focus on the screen because you can't see him. So our friend Debbie Saviano is runs a group called Women's Leadership Live with a couple people, one of which is Linda McMahon, who she and her husband run the WWE. So we occasionally make wrestler connections, like with Mr. Paul Levesque back there and all that. So sexy bearded men. Thank you. Yeah, I got that. There was a TV show coming on Country something network and another one on some other network, and CC Chapman had that made for me. And that comes with the Chris Brogan action figure comes with an alligator that I was supposed to wrestle. So at least the alligator's only this big, so it's really good to wrestle with. If anyone comes on stage with me, that would be great. cbrogan.me/join us. Otherwise, I'll just take whatever topics we want to talk about. I want anything you want to talk about. One thing to think about as we're coming towards the end of having a pandemic is that we're going to change our behaviors again. We changed our behaviors immensely at the beginning of 2020. We're going to change our behaviors again, but not necessarily back. We're not going to reset back. It's just a possibility that there may be some new ways to look at it. Now, listen, I got to, Kip Meacham, I just want to tell you one thing. This is important to know, Kip, that the secret of having an amazing show is to have an incredible co-host. There's nothing more true. So now you can go, Kip. Good to see you. This right here is a good answer, as Carrie is probably deep in the throes of all her incredible work she has to do to take care of all the mess going on in her life. I can sit here and, just be in my fossil colored shirt talking to you while she has to do all kinds of hard work. But she'll be back on next week. That's the rumor anyway. The rumor is Carrie Gorgon returns to the Backpack Show next week. We'll see. Her spot's over here. I still, keep looking. I think that we have to think about when we come back from pandemic, because for one, audio isn't going to be as important, or audio only. However, in the commute, your podcast will be important. It's going to be important because there's going to be a lot of people who are looking to get some stuff put back together again. Now, listen, sometimes you can have guests anywhere in the world. You can have guests in the States. You can have guests just litter the place, but you rarely get them from Scotland. Hey, Chloe.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm not so camera ready, but I thought I'd come and say hello anyway.
Because you knew I was feeling so sad that I hadn't seen you on screen in so long.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
It's better when you're not on screen.
Yes.
Listen,
So.
your really awesome scarf there is so great. It makes me think of my mask.
You.
So this is my mask I wear outdoors. So
we're like snap with the skills.
Oh, so good. That's so class. Are you've been working on some pretty cool sites. I've seen some of them. I seem to recall there was a co-host of mine who maybe got a new site put together.
I know, it's so fun. It's always so fun doing Carrie. Like, Carrie is the most fun to work with because she's just like, go and do your thing. She just like will send you images and be like, I just want a fun site. Go make it. So it's good. I think that's what every web designer wants, like the creative freedom to do it instead of being like micromanaged all the time, which can be it's challenging if someone micromanages you, because a lot of the time they don't actually know what they want. So they have like an idea of what they want, but what they say is very different. So
they spend a lot more time screaming, make the logo bigger and that sort of a thing.
Well, it's more like, I want something like this and this and this, but then if you present that's not actually what they wanted. They just thought they wanted that. So it's a lot easier if someone's just like, hey, if I just have a conversation with you and then I just tell you who I am, then you go and make my site. It's a little bit easier. It takes like 75% of the work out.
So great. So this is Carrie.show. What a fun URL too. And what a great font you chose here too. This is a very Carrie font.
Thank you so much. It was one of those things where I just saw it and I thought of her. So a lot of the time that's it.
Do you know that when you made, Sarah loves your scarf and Carrie loves
Sarah.
you. So
I love Carrie too. I miss her so much when she's not on the screen.
I know, what the heck. Well, it's okay, fine, be that way. I get it. But listen, I get it. I understand. Sarah likes the website. You are a Squarespace specialist, and more than often when Rob Hatch and I talk to people and they're like, well, you've been saying WordPress for 20 years. Do you still say WordPress? I go, You don't have to. And we've started to say, well, why not use some Squarespace or something? Have you found more people wanting to talk to you a little more often these days? Are you getting a lot more people kind of getting on your wait list these days?
I get a lot of people reach out to me and say, "Hey, I know you're going to tell me to go to Squarespace, but can you help me with this WordPress thing?" I get that at least, I'd say over 20 messages a week, easy, with people talking. And it's always framed that way. And my answer is always, I'm not going to tell you to switch to Squarespace. But the reason you're struggling is because your choice, like your reasoning behind WordPress is flawed. You're not picking it because it's the best tool for you. You're picking it because other people have told you it's the best. So I'm getting a lot of people that come to me with those questions, and I still answer them. If you need help with WordPress, like I'll still answer it. But a lot of the time, I think people are just getting frustrated. If you're not a designer, if you don't know SEO, if you don't want to spend all of your time updating faulty plugins and just dealing with that headache, then it's an alternative. I don't think Squarespace is the best tool in the world. And but I also know that people value their time. And I know that people are more likely to post content if they have a site they can actually use rather than one that gives them a headache every time they go on it. So it usually is framed with WordPress. And then after about 10 conversations that are always the same conversations, they'll come to me and they'll say, "Hey, okay, I'm done fighting this whole WordPress thing. Just build a Squarespace site for me, please."
Can you double their fee right then? Just say, look, here's your tax for not doing this the first time.
Well, that's the thing. Like a lot of people see Squarespace as inferior, so they think that it's going to be cheaper to do that work. But in actual fact, if you want a website that looks like a professional website and doesn't look like a Squarespace, like in the box template type site, that's going to take a lot more work. And all the adjustments and the code and the customization you have to do on top of it to make it easy to use, so they get the nice, easy, seamless Squarespace experience, but they still get that professional, like nobody would know it's Squarespace look. That costs a lot of time and money. So my whole thing is like, how do I make that easier? My question is always how do I make this easier?
If I saw this site, I would never guess Squarespace. I probably wouldn't guess WordPress. I'd probably think hand. I would probably think hand coded because it's really smart. Now I've never tried to do this. I hope I don't break anything. All right. I just want to see what would happen when I smushed it. So on my screen, I just grabbed the edge of the browser and tried to pretend it's a mobile device now, and it still holds up real nice. Holds up.
Mobile responsive on everything. And you could do a lot with custom code as well. I also think like a huge part of it is just, I mean, I use Squarespace and Canva. I don't use fancy Adobe I can if it's for a client that doesn't want to make any changes. But the whole thing is you should be able to easily, like if Carrie wants to switch out that image, she can do it in about 30 seconds. And that's like an important part of it too, being able to update it and change it and be empowered to use your site. Because that's why people don't use it. That and they don't know how to monetize it.
So His Highness himself, the franchise king Joe Labava, asked the question, is Squarespace pretty easy to edit and make small changes to?
Yeah, so easy. It's unbelievably easy. You don't need any technical skills. You don't need to know how to do anything. Anybody can use it. Same with the design aspect. Like if you can use Canva to do this now, Canva's a free tool. And you could have a website. I mean, I have a couple of videos up showing people how to build an entire site in an hour. So if you want to do it yourself, you can do it. Where people struggle is the design and making it look the way they want it to look, make it look pretty.
Your YouTube channel, I believe, I did it the first time. Yes, is youtube.com/ChloeForbesK. So right from there, we can learn all kinds of things about talking with Stella on her website design, an inside look, how to find which version you're running. Barbara Hahn's website reveal was recently. I saw that one. How to activate SSL is important because, oh my gosh, how many times do you go to somebody's site and your browser says, this site is illegal, it's bad, you probably shouldn't trust it, nothing good's happening here.
Well, you get a free SSL certificate with Squarespace. Not that I'm trying to convince everyone to switch, but that's just an add-on, which is important. Right, it's important. I hate when sites break. I hate when sites break, and I hate when they don't work or they don't load right. And I just think we need to make it as easy as possible for the person who's running the site and managing it, but also for the website visitor, because you're trying to take them on a journey. And no
Right.
code is exactly. If you don't want code, you can. The thing is, you can add code. I add a lot of code to my sites to make them customized, but you don't have to. It's really
Right.
easy. You don't
You
want
can
to.
go really in the box if you want, but if you want a few
Yeah.
out of the box things here and there. So I have a world question around you right there. So what's the scenario? What's the pandemic world like out there? Is everybody getting vaccinated? What's the storyline there?
Yeah, people are starting to get vaccinated now. They seem to be doing it in groups. Some people are reacting really badly to the AstraZeneca one, but it seems to be a particular age group. But a lot of everyone, I think, over 60 has had the opportunity to get it now. And things are opening up slowly. For me, I'm in the immunocompromised group, so I'm still like, don't leave your house unless it's to walk your dog type of thing. But yeah, it seems to be, we were in a really tough lockdown for the last like 4 months where you weren't really allowed out at all. So it's strange seeing people go out now, even just in groups of like 2 or 4. But yeah, it seems to be rolling out kind of quickly, which is a good thing.
That's good. Yeah. I still use Instagram right now for pure judgment.
Yeah.
I just look for people with no masks and think I'll never be your friend again. Sorry.
Yeah, that's one way to do it. Well, I'm really lucky where I live because I'm surrounded by fields and hills, so I get to avoid people all day long. It's perfect if you're an introvert. I just like get to walk my dog up in the hills and there's nobody around at all. So I mean, the other week it was terrifying. So I have one really big fear in life and it's rats. And when I say I'm like scared of them, I will scream my head off in the middle of the street if I see one. I one time had to call a friend to come and get me because there was a dead rat on the middle of the road and I wouldn't walk past it. They had to come get me. So I was really scared. So I saw a rat the other day and that put me off going for walks for like a week. But other than that, it's fine. If you're not scared of mice, rats, field mice, and all that stuff, you're fine.
I just noticed you still have your Twitter offline. How's that been for you?
Yeah. So actually, you inspired this a little bit. You made an Instagram video and you said retreat, but don't surrender. And I was sitting thinking about it and I was like, I've struggled a lot with my health this year. And it's okay-ish the last week or so. But I was thinking, why? A lot of the time you're expending so much energy on these things. And if you just don't have it to have, I think sometimes it's okay to just say, hey, I can't do this right now, or I can't even explain it in a way that makes sense to people. So I'm just going to take a step back. And when I can come back, I will come back. Because a lot of the time, I think certainly when you have a sort of a chronic illness, you spend a lot of your time making it okay for everybody else for the fact that you're not okay. And that takes up so much energy. If you have like $1 of energy in a day, you're spending half of that just having conversations with people, explaining it, and then trying to make it okay for them. And at the end of the day, you have nothing left to give at all. And so I think it's okay to take those steps and to say that you don't owe anybody else your pain. Just because people want to know. It's a hard thing because people just care, right? And that's so beautiful and so kind. But I think it's okay to say, like, I don't owe anybody all of this precious energy that I have. I can keep it and use that to heal. And then when I'm ready, I can come back and actually give something that's valuable.
Voiceover artist and talent Larry Oliver asks the question, just what part of Scotland are you from?
So I'm originally from up north in Banff, but I live in Perth, which is like the center of Scotland. So I'm right in the middle of everywhere, which is fun. Not when you say Perth, everybody thinks of Australia, which would be lovely, but yeah. I agree.
Sarah totally loved your idea about taking a step back to make it okay for you, and that's good.
Yeah.
I always think it's extra when somebody who's a voiceover artist wants to know about your accent. He's like under the hood a little, thinking about it. And
Yeah. Well,
how does it
my
make you feel?
voice is something. Well, one, it cracks a lot right now, but it's funny. My brother makes fun of me all the time for the way I talk, all the time, and so it's always like it's nice when whenever I speak to Americans, they like my voice because I'm used to like you don't speak right, like you're not pronouncing things well, and I'm always like it's okay, it's fine. If you can understand what I'm saying, that's the main thing.
Absolutely so. That's completely what's at play there. And I love that though. I love the thought that basically if people, where they always say you're never a prophet within 100 miles of your house. So of course it's the same with your accent, your accent's beautiful. We read a survey around here that said Boston accents are beautiful. I still don't agree with this. I think that's crazy. So Linda found
I think it's foreign to you, right?
Oh, I think so. I think it's we all hate where we're from anyway. Like we all hate the food we grew up on until we go away from home and then we miss it deadly. We absolutely need to have it back.
That's very true.
But it's you gave me a lot of help. It was funny. I was so panicked when we were going to have comedian Janie Godley on, who is your fault as well. When we decided we're going to get Janie Godley on, you decided to give me a little tutorial real fast about how it was going to go. And Glaswegian, like Glasgow people, that's another whole bunch of crazy people. It's not even the rest of Scotland kind of Scottish.
It's the same with where I'm from. They speak Doric. So I don't have the accent, but like my dad and my family do. If you try and understand what they're saying, it's worse than Glasgow. It's not like they'll be like fit like, and that means like, hey, how are you doing? Which doesn't translate. Yeah.
It makes me
so
think
funny when I go up there. It's so strange.
It makes me think of that one character in Trainspotting that they had to subtitle, even though like they're technically speaking English. Just that one was out there yelling Maggie. Every other word he said, no one could understand what he said, so they said just subtitle him. He was probably your dad's relative. Who knows?
Maybe. I mean, there's some funny stuff. I think you have to subtitle people from up north, even on Scottish television. So. There's that.
And it's a going thing. Everybody knows this in the world, it seems, that Scottish people can't use things like Siri. Siri just has no clue what you're saying to her.
Oh my goodness. Or if you ever do like the automatic subtitles on YouTube, I try really hard to speak clearly in my videos, but some of the curses that come out, I'm like, I don't think I'm swearing, but like it comes up as I am all the time, which is like Perthshire. It always comes out as Perthshire, which I mean, I have my own opinions on where I live, but probably not best for a video.
There is that. Chloe Forbes Kinlan, I'm kicking you off my stage, but you're such a sweetheart for coming on. Thanks. Even vaguely camera ready. You did it.
Thank you for having me.
You're a love. All right. Boop. You're gone. I mushed you. You're gone. Out of the story. Gone. Thank you so much for being on. Well, that's it. We came to an end of a show. I mean, we did a show length amount of showing here. Thanks everybody who came on, even if you didn't get on stage with me. I love it when you do. One last request, as I always have, which is, if you got it in you, just push the share button. Just get some more attention out there. Make sure some people know there's a show like this, even though we're about to go off the air, which makes it funnier. My grandmother spoke French Canadian, and one of the things I'll tell you is that she thought that she was doing a great job of when she was speaking French and not, that we would never understand it. But when you start to hear sentences that are like, well, I don't know about that girl there, she's a, and then the next 5 words you don't know, guess what you think she's talking about? I got to tell you, it was a thing. But I will tell you one swear word in French that my grandmother used a lot.